Welcome, everybody, to the Jim Masters Show, entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity talk show series. Hope everybody's doing well. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for all of the love, gang. We love you from wherever you're watching around the world. We welcome everybody watching in the United States and Canada, all throughout North America, South America as well. We get a lot of viewers in South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, New Zealand, all points of the globe. We welcome you, whatever time it is you're watching. I know that a lot of people watch dependent on their time zone. So it could be morning, it could be noon, it could be night, whatever it is, time-wise. Thanks so much for joining us for our entertaining, inspiring, amazing conversations and entertainment that we have all the time for you right here on the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Celebrity Talk Show series. We've done well over 1,000 episodes in 3.5 years. It's so absolutely amazing with extraordinary guests who actually want to be here with us. They want to share in our levity and our warmth and the conversation we try to, divvy up for everybody. And we say thank you to you, our faithful, loyal JMS viewers, because you've been writing us, you have been emailing and texting. You have been sharing the love on social media about our series, and we thank you so very much for that. We have somebody very special joining us. This is her return visit. Last time, you may remember, she was out on the patio. I remember she had a beautiful yellow outfit on. I mean, she was glowing in the sun in Mexico. And now, guess what? We got her before she goes back. She's leaving in a couple of days to go to Mexico. So I said, let's see if we can get her back on just before she goes. So that way, when she goes, she can relax, she can enjoy herself. But knowing her, she always works all the time anyway. She is Ruta Lee, and we are so honored and blessed to have her back here on the show. Hollywood legend extraordinaire. There's that word legend and iconic is always bandied around a lot. But then there are those who truly are, who've paid the dues, who've paved the way, who've loved what they've done, and who have had their hands in just about every aspect of the industry. And is internationally beloved as well. Ruta Lee is all of those things and so much more. Hollywood legend, phenomenal actress, dancer, singer extraordinaire. You know her from so many extraordinary performances. Of course, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, epic films, television shows and series. Andy Griffith, one of my favorite episodes of one of my favorite series, the Twilight Zone, of course, absolutely. I mean, she's been on the Lucy Show with Lucille Ball. She has been in Hollywood Party back in 1965. I mean, look at all of that. This is Hollywood. This is Americana at its best. And she even, for a number of years, was with the beloved, and of course, we miss so much, Alex Trebek on High Rollers. Yes, you remember that's bringing back lots of memories for you as well, right? She is just one of those American, Canadian, Lithuanian treasures wherever you go. She truly is an international treasure, but we claim her here in America. We love her so much. Our show comes out of the New York area. That's where we broadcast from, folks, in case you're wondering. So we welcome everybody from all around the world. Look at these epic, epic photos. And of course, recently, she was graced with her own Hollywood Star of Fame, the Walk of Fame. How beautiful that is, right? And well-deserved. All the accolades that she gets are well-earned and well-deserved. She's beloved. She's witty, she's affable, she's warm, she's funny. She's obviously beautiful inside and out, and everybody loves Ruta Lee. I mean, that should be the name of a book or a Broadway play, right? Everybody loves Ruta Lee. They really do. And she was so gracious the last time she was here. She's the same right now. We were just having a beautiful conversation just before going, with the show on. Here is her book. We want to show it to you. Consider Your Ass Kissed. Isn't that a great title? I mean, if that title doesn't grab you, I don't know what does. You might not have a pulse. You might need to get that checked. It's a phenomenal read. I encourage you to get this book if you have not. It is available. We will tell you how you can get this book as well. But there's some really special things that have happened recently. In addition to everything else that I just said to you and I just described to you, there are some amazing things that have happened in Ruta's life, in addition to all of this epic material that we're showing you here. And one of the things that happened not that long ago is she had an opportunity to be honored by Lithuanian President Valdas Adamkus. And this was for something very, very special. And she'll tell us more about that. Legendary actress Ruta Lee, of course, she was also in Witness for the Prosecution, Funny Face. She received Lithuania's highest honor from President Adamkus at a magnificent ceremony at the Vilnius Presidential Palace. Then, just recently, Ruta was presented with a new honor by Lithuanian President Gitanas Nausėda and the First Lady Diana. And that was another wonderful honor that they bestowed on her, which is incredible. And of course, she has a wonderful tie to Lithuania. The President and First Lady remarked on how the visit to the estate gave them a wonderful opportunity to enjoy something very, very special. And this was really incredible because the Lithuanian head of state and the First Lady joined a long list of famous to visit the former estate of Rita Hayworth and Orson Welles for the state dinner in tribute to current owner, legendary Ruta Lee. And in the memoir, she also shares her struggle to get her family out of Lithuania as well. So there's the President and the First Lady. Quite special, right? And here's a quick shot there too of them, the beautiful estate. Very, very nice, huh? So it's something very, very special that happened again for Ruta recently. And we are so honored to have an opportunity to tell you a little bit about it here and celebrate it with Ruta. It's an extraordinary honor. And of course, something that was really, really beautifully done when they gave it to her. One of the things, too, when they came is it gave the President and First Lady of Lithuania this rare opportunity to visit the estate. And they experienced Hollywood's golden era as the former home of the entertainment icon Orson Welles was presented. In addition to the Hollywood luminaries that were imagined to have gathered at the galas at the estate's palatial living rooms, and of course, having dinners of 20 or more in the dining hall, as well as the thought of Ms. Hayward and Ms. Wells themselves, Mr. Wells themselves making an entrance. Can you imagine Ms. Hayworth, Mr. Wells themselves making an entrance into the grand staircase, coming down, stepping like back in time as mental images of Citizen Kane came to mind. The home still entertains Hollywood elites as guests of Ruta Lee, past and present, including George Takeiras, Rich Little, and so many others have been. Michael Feinstein, Carol Channing's been there, Hugh O'Brien, Sally Struthers has been there, the late Debbie Reynolds and Phyllis Diller, Bob Hope, Alex Trebek, all have been there. And during the recent state gathering with the lunch prepared by star chef Joey Santos, Ruta Lee was presented with the gorgeous Lithuanian glass sculpture in gratitude for her lifelong connection to and pride in Lithuanian heritage. It's really incredible. That is just the short list of what we're talking about, folks. And without further ado, let's welcome this extraordinary talent. Again, beautiful inside and out. Wait to see her fashionable hat. You're going to love it. Ruta Lee joining us once again on the Jim Masters Show. Ruta, we love you.
How beautiful, my darling Jim Masters. That's the most beautiful obituary I have ever heard. And I am signing you up for it now. I hope you recorded it. Just play that damn thing for me, will you? That is so perfect. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for making me feel so welcome. Thank you for making me feel so grand. Oh, how lovely. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be with all you people, no matter what part of the world you're in.
Well, the pleasure is all mine and all ours. And it's funny you mentioned obituary because I've done 5 for relatives. And my Aunt Gertie, I took her to the estate of Eva Franke, Sergio Franke's widow. She, for years, always had this beautiful concert event out on their estate, on their lawn in southeastern Connecticut at their home in Mystic. So I took my mother's oldest sister, Gertrude, Aunt Gertie, to see, she always loved Frankie, to see this spectacular event. So we're on the lawn, we're in the chairs, and I was emceeing that event as well. And my uncle had passed, Uncle Ray, her husband, and she loved the eulogy so much. She said, you've done eulogies for several of the family members, and I love the warm way that you do it, and it's just beautiful. I want to put my order in for you to do mine now. I'm like, wait a minute, you're going to live to 120. I don't want to hear about orders for obituaries. But I actually ended up doing it. She did pass, a few years later. But it's just funny that you say that. Maybe that's a side business I should go into.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I've always said that if all else fails, I can park cars. I'm very, very good at parking.
Yep.
You are very good at obituaries, so maybe we'll make a deal. You write the material, I'll park the cars.
You'll park the cars. Well, remember what Carl Reiner always said, right? He got up every morning, and before he had his breakfast, he checked the obituary to see if he was in it, and if he wasn't, he had breakfast.
Yeah, he was having a good day, yeah.
How have you been, lovely Ruta Lee? And thank you so very much, on the cusp of returning back to beautiful Mexico. Yes, home there, for stopping by. I know your luggage is probably at the end of the driveway waiting for you soon.
Well, believe it or not, I carry just my drag along, as I call it, the hand carry thing, because I have stuff there. Of course, when you haven't used something for a year or so, I find that I go to put on a pair of shoes and the sole falls off because it's just been sitting, drying out, the geckos have pooped on my shoulders on all the dresses, which is not exactly gorgeous.
That's not exactly.
But what the hell? That's living in or having a place in the tropics. It does get a little warm down in Mexico, but it's gorgeous. Yeah. Did you see the movie 10?
Yes.
Well, all right. That's Las Hadas. That's where I have my condo, and it's just an amazing thing. And when I say a condo, you think of high-rise sort of, saltine boxes with balconies and windows. And that's not what it is. It's built into the side of a mountain, very much like some of the stuff in the south of France or Italy. And nothing looks down on anything. It just looks out at the ocean and at the seawall and at the hotel next door, the Las Hadas. It's so pretty and so wonderful. And well, people can go to my website and they can see the house because it's pictured in it, which is very nice.
How many years have you been going there?
I'd say close to around 40. Around 40 years. But I don't get there all that often. I wish I could get there 2 or 3 times a year, but I can't. I'm just too busy, and I've got the Thalians and everything to worry about. We'll talk about the Thalians as we go along, but that's all part of giving back that we were talking about a little earlier. Judy will get that. Don't worry about the phone.
The Thalians calling now? Or?
Yeah, maybe.
So don't forget to mention us.
It could possibly be.
You have a beautiful cat behind you too, who looks.
You do see the cat
to the left of you. Yeah.
I have 2 darling little dogs, 2 huge, fabulous cats, and a golden-crested cockatoo. And the golden-crested cockatoo doesn't talk. He does what he hears the most, which is laughter. He laughs in every tone imaginable because my house is filled with laughter. The levity is part of your slogan that I belong to, the levity.
Yes, all love and levity, levity.
He also barks a lot because he hears the dogs barking all the time. So I have a barking bird and barking dogs. And a great house. It's a wonderful house, as you said. Yes. Once owned by Rita Hayworth and Orson Welles. And I will, please excuse the expression, keep rubbing my ass on the wall, assuming off on me. And that's all there is to it.
Wait, as soon as you said rubbing my ass, you froze. Your picture froze. What a
Well,
time.
remember it.
Was that a Freudian situation? So what did you say after I'm going to keep rubbing my ass?
Ass on the walls, assuming that Rita Hayworth's glamour will come off. She was a beautiful creature. She was one of our honorees at the Thalians. Jim, we talked a little bit about the Thalians the last time we spoke, but maybe not enough. Thalians is a group that was founded by a group of young Hollywood people who got tired of being called hard drinking, pot smoking idiots that had nothing to contribute to society, and said, we hang around the piano and sing and carry on and have a good time anyway. Why don't we put a show together and sell tickets and raise money for a charity? And so we sent out, what's her name with the big boobs? Help me.
Dolly Parton.
A slightly older blonde was unfortunately killed in a terrible accident. Oh Lord, I'll think of it later.
I know who.
Anyway, her daughter is on.
Not Jane Mansfield.
Yes, Jane Mansfield.
Jane Mansfield. Yeah.
Jane Mansfield. She came back to the meeting saying all the good diseases have been taken, but she discovered a doctor that was working with emotionally disturbed children. And nobody was talking about mental illness in those days. It was always tucked away in a closet. No family wanted to recognize it.
That's right.
And so we took on and became Hollywood for mental health. And we built the first clinic that went in at Cedars-Sinai, the Thalians Community Mental Health Center. And some 30 or 40 or 50 millions of dollars later, we decided that we were missing the boat in not taking care of the people who do the most for us. And they're the gorgeous young people that are willing to put their lives on the line every day for us, no matter what hellhole in the world we send them to. And our military was being neglected when they came back. Not all of them got taken care of. And some of them had enormous mental health problems upon return. So we Thalians joined up with Operation MEND at UCLA. OpMend takes care of healing the broken and fractured bodies. We Thalians take care of healing the broken and fractured mind and spirit. And so if any of your listeners anywhere in the world have a few bucks to spare, whether it's $5, $500, $500,000, please go to the Thalians, THALIANS.org, and see what we're all about and contribute to us. This, in a few days, in a month, we will be having our great big Christmas gala, which will honor the fabulous Gary Sinise. If ever there was a great American, that is one of our greatest Americans, Gary Sinise, who really has put his time and effort forward to raise funds for the veterans as well. And so we're honoring him, and Rich Little will come in and do a little something. And
that's great.
My darling, God, my names are going in one ear. Stephanie Powers.
Oh, Stephanie Powers.
Stephanie Powers gave Gary Sinise one of his very first jobs in show business. So I think it's absolutely astounding how small the world is and how it comes together in a good cause when we're raising funds for our beautiful veterans.
That's so beautiful. That is so incredible and so needed, right?
Right now, it's really needed with all the garbage that's going on in the world. I can't believe what's happening to poor Israel. Oh, Lord, help us. Sometimes we don't deserve it.
Tough stuff. Well, even you with your extraordinary background, I mentioned, of course, this phenomenal Hollywood legendary background in film and television, stage, and more. But even within your own life, your book talks about the struggle to get the family to be able to leave and, leave from Lithuania.
Yes.
And that's not, easier said than done, right? We've got this beautiful photo here of mom and grandmom.
Oh, how nice. Oh, yes. That
Tell us
was,
about them.
I would love to. My work ethic came from my parents, who got it from their parents, of course. But I saw the work ethic in action when my childhood, during the Second World War. I was just a little kid.
There you are,
Um,
cutie patootie there.
yeah, ah, yes. My mother was trying to find my grandparents, and the war came, and everything was closed off. And of course, after the war, it was now the Soviet Union property. All
Yes.
those Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, Poland, all the Eastern European countries were under the communist heel. And there was no communication. And we found out that my grandparents had been deported to Siberia on cattle trains, much like the Jews were traveling across Germany into labor camps and to extermination camps. So the same thing was happening with the Russian Soviet and people that they were trying to repatriate. And why they were shipped off to Siberia, God only knows. They were not the intelligentsia. They were not professors. They were not lawyers. They were not judges. They were little farm folk. What made them rich was they had a cow that they could milk to make cheese.
Right.
And they were deported. My grandfather's legs were frozen on the train that they were being deported on. When they took him off the train and took off his boots, the flesh came off with the boots. He died of gangrene. My grandmother didn't even know because she was still on the train going off to Siberia. My mother, through the Blessed Red Cross, found my grandmother in Siberia. And we started sending packages. I was just a little kid. I didn't know anything about anything. And they would sustain themselves. At that point, you could send old clothes with packages, and you'd put together a pound of lard, a pound of bacon, a pound of coffee, a pound of tea, a pound of sugar, old clothes. And my mother would roll up then Canadian dollar bills, because that's where we were living,
Right.
and hundreds if she had the money to do it with, and sew them into the jackets, telling my grandparent, uh, maybe padded shoulders are not popular in the Soviet, take out the pads, hoping that she would find the dollar bills, and whatever. Anyway, eventually that little lady in her 90s hitchhiked across Siberia to a place where she found other members of our family that had been deported. And they eventually were allowed to go back to Lithuania. They could stay in what they built in Siberia or go back to Lithuania. They chose to go back. Their property, their little farm place, had been given to some commissar of some kind. And she was being taken care of by my aunt. My aunt wrote a letter thanking us for all the things that we had sent, that she was saying goodbye, that my grandmother thanked her for her burial clothes. Very important to Eastern Europeans to have nice things to be buried in.
Yes.
But she was going to die. The doctor told her to prepare for death. She was old and she was going to die. She had heart problems.
Mm.
And of course, I didn't know when I got home to get this letter from my mother, who was in a spate of tears, whether my grandmother was alive or dead, because it took anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks for a letter to get here. And I went out with friends that night, so distressed that the one remaining grandparent I had may be gone and I would never meet any of my grandparents. And the more wine they poured, the more obvious it became to all of us that I had to do something dramatic. So, slightly sloshed from red wine, I came home and waited for the right hour and placed a call to Nikita Khrushchev. And in those days, Jim, you probably don't remember, but you could make person-to-person calls. You paid more for a person-to-person call, like twice probably,
Yeah.
but you didn't pay unless you got your party.
Right.
And no matter how many times I called, the operator would say, "How do you spell Khrushchev?" well, who the hell knew how to put the C's and the H's and the K's where they belonged, right?
Right.
So anyway, no matter how many times we called, the operator, the Russian operator, would say, no, not available, you not speak English. It was no, 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 no. At the given hour, I started calling the Russian embassy in Washington, hoping to hit from both ends. And no matter how many times I called or who I spoke to, I got niet, 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 niet. Finally, the Russian operator calls and says, Mr. Khrushchev, no speak English. You speak with interpreter. I said, yes. So I spoke with the gentleman and he said, oh, Miss Lee, we know about you in the Soviet Union. We run your movies here all the time. What is it I can do for you? And I said, I want to come to Lithuania. You had to be a very high Communist Party official to go to any of those satellite countries. And he said, and the State Department had told me, don't take your parents because they wouldn't keep, but your parents they could keep as a primary citizen of the Soviet. And I thought to myself, God will not be that cruel. And I said, I want to take my parents and I want to come to Lithuania right away. And he said, well, why don't you talk to your congressman about it? And I said, my congressman, what in hell does my congressman have to do with my traveling in your country, the Soviet Union? I must have pushed the right button for him because he said, in 30 minutes, present yourself again to the Russian embassy in Washington. And I thought, oh, hell's bells. Again, I'm going to get the shuffle. I'm just going to get pushed around. But I called back 30 minutes later, slightly sober, slightly testy at this point, because I'm tired, haven't slept all night. And I am connected immediately to the first secretary, who happened to be Lithuanian. Mm-hmm. And I speak Lithuanian, maybe not fluently, but well. And we had a nice long conversation. And to cut this very long story a little shorter, within 48 hours, my papers were signed. The deal was made. I had permission to go to Lithuania. So we flew to Moscow, thanks to Pan Am, who let me carry all kinds of extra stuff that I was taking that they didn't have in the Soviet Union. And then we flew back to Lithuania from there. And I was taken to a big hospital, not in Vilnius, the capital city, but the next city, Kaunas, where my darling grandmother had been miraculously moved by big fancy ambulance from 150 miles away down and into a hospital in Kaunas. I say hospital because it was a hospital. The staff was brilliant. The doctors were wonderful, but the hospital didn't even have aspirin. That's how good the communist system is. And the entire hospital staff was in tears when we arrived, the Americans in their light furs, in this great, dark, dank hole of a country that Lithuania was under communism. And we're glowing like Americans. And the entire staff is gathered and there are tears, copious tears flowing everywhere, except from my grandmother, who is smiling her toothless smile, just beaming with delight. And what a reunion that was. And I must say, I was treated like a queen by the authorities then, which was surprising because I made so many Voice of America broadcasts cursing communism and what it did to all the countries that it took over.
Yeah.
And I was surprised they let me in. I was surprised they let me out. Right. But it was marvelous. And then 6 months later, I went back to get her. And, oh, Jim, when we finally got home to America, we didn't have the jetways then. You had to go up and down stairs.
Right, yeah.
And she walked down the stairs and she dropped to her knees on the tarmac and she kissed the ground, opened her arms up to heaven and said, "Hello, America." And I think about how grateful she was to finally be on the American shores and how we as Americans take it all so for granted.
Yeah.
And forget how blessed we are to live in a free country.
Her husband had passed, no
Yes.
family, no food, nothing to live for. And yet the dreams of coming to America never diminished for her, did
Never,
they?
never. Which is astounding.
It
Because
is.
who at her age would have thought that would happen?
Would even happen. And
Yeah.
your grandfather, ironically, had been awarded medals by Lenin, but
By
he
Lenin.
passed at the hands of the Communist Party, huh?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I'll say, I mean, frozen, because they were in a cattle car. The men rounded the women and the children up and tried to form a barrier against the cold breezes coming through. It's horrendous when you stop and think about it. Imagine taking off his boots and all the flesh came off with the boots. I just think about it, and I think how blessed we are, and how we better start showing our gratitude to America.
It's really amazing because my mother's brother, Fred, my mother's the youngest of 16, so it's a big family on my mother's side of the family.
Wow.
Yeah, big family on that side. And
must have been Catholic.
My Uncle Fred, his wife, my Aunt Dorith, which is a very interesting
unusual name. Yeah.
Dorith, Dorith. She came from Vienna, Austria. He met her when he was sent over in the war. And I've had these fabulous conversations with her. She's 96.
Oh, God love her.
He's 95.
Oh, how nice.
Both. They're still together.
He married an older woman.
Scooped her up from Austria, brought her back to America, and they live and raise their family in Massachusetts, and they have a lake house up there, and it's very beautiful. We visit all the time, and I would have these wonderful, her house, beautifully decorated. A lot of things that came over from Austria and from Vienna.
Course.
I mean, it sort of looks like a gorgeous, large version of Hansel and Gretel or something really beautiful. And she would always
have
be.
You spent any time there in Austria?
That's one place I haven't been to yet.
Oh, you must go. It's gorgeous.
I've done Italy and Greece and other places, but Netherlands.
Beautiful.
I'd have these wonderful conversations because she has all the books, the German books. She has everything at the house. And that's where I learned to play piano. I would always go in and run into the dining room where the piano was, and I would just by ear start playing their beautiful piano. But she told me about how when she was a kid, how they would be coming from Russia and they would have to run and hide in the basements, even in Vienna, because they'd be knocking on the doors, looking for the women and grabbing the husband out, taking him away to wherever, but also coming for the children and for the mother. And when she was a child, they used to have to go down in the basement and hide, and it was so quiet. So a similar kind of thing. And then my uncle, they fell in love, and she came back to America with him, and they raised their family. And though she loves her beautiful Austria, she absolutely loves and appreciates America. And like you said, Ruta, I think everybody, whether you love America or you're having issues with America right now, whatever it may be, should leave, go visit, fall in love with other places in this world. But in addition to falling in love with other places in the world and the cultures and the food and the beauty, it'll give you a reappreciation for what's here, the freedoms, what we have here. But sometimes it takes you to be removed to then come back to really appreciate it, right?
Absolutely. And oh Lord, how I appreciate it. And it's so interesting because you mentioned a former president, Adamkus of Lithuania. There's a fabulous story there because his family were smart enough to get the hell out of Lithuania when he was still just a little child, and literally walk their way across and into Vienna and Austria and over into Germany and across, and eventually were sponsored and got to America. God bless them. Somebody took pity on them. And he grew up, of course, in the United States, in Chicago. And later became a very, very successful entrepreneur and businessman, very successful, very wealthy. And he wondered what he could do for the country that he was born in that was suffering so. And he went back, of course, to a free Lithuania and became president of Lithuania. And President Nausėda, the gentleman and his beautiful wife that were just here for lunch, was mentored by President Adamkus. So I met pre-President Nausėda when I was in Lithuania and got to know him. And what's interesting is that they're all very high-tone people now in high-tone places that came from very, very poor basic roots, farm roots, which is kind of wonderful to know. And so I love the fact that both the presidents have played a very important part of my life, and how nice to know that they were just poor peasant stock too before they came presidents.
I am thinking about your mother and your grandmother and other family members and what they would be feeling deeply and expressing, knowing that you had this opportunity to meet the presidents, meet the first lady, have them over, have opportunities to go back to the original homeland for, your grandmother, your mother, and be presented and honored, and then have the president and first lady come here to this extraordinary home that has lots of legend within it, if the walls could talk, and what your mother and your grandmother would be saying, the pride they would have, the tears that would be falling, that you are greeting these dignitaries from the homeland. It's incredible.
What they would have said,
they would be
darling,
saying? Yeah.
I've got to tell you, they would have just rolled with it, and they would have said, "Eat, darling, eat."
Would they have said, "We're going to help cook"?
Oh, of course they would have cooked.
It's exactly.
My very good friend, who is the chef to the stars here in Hollywood, Joey Santos.
Oh, yes.
His father was a wonderful actor. Anyway, he prepared the lunch, and I said, "Prepare anything but Lithuanian. They get enough of that in Lithuania." He was such a nice guy. I look forward to seeing him again. By the way, a sad part of this whole thing was that another one of my sisters, almost by birth, because she is also of Lithuanian descent, the beautiful Anne Gillian, if you remember her from movies and It's a Living, she starred, the beautiful blonde. She was to come to lunch that day with the president. I invited her and her husband. And the day before was in a horrendous automobile accident. Her husband was having a seizure and stiffened up, and on a hillside had the car pushed down to 70 miles an hour and went into a tree. He's still in ICU, and she is broken in so many places. I can't believe it. Has to be moved by a great big lift to get her in and out of bed and into a chair if she can sit now. But she's coming along. But isn't that sad? That beautiful girl should have met this wonderful president. And the really bizarre fact is that her maiden name is the same as the president's, Nausėda, Nausėda. That's her maiden name. And now Lithuania is a small country, so I'm assuming that somewhere down the long line, they are related by some hook or crook.
That's incredible. Thanks for sharing that story, and please send,
everybody send up a kind thought for both Anne and Andy.
Let's round up the troops, lovities, and send some lovity their way.
Yes,
for sure.
I will tell her that we talk. In fact, when we're done, I'll call her and tell her we talked about her on the air.
Absolutely. When you were 16, you became a citizen of the United States, and that coupled with your growing fame, and it gave you the ability to really approach every political you met for some 12 years through different administrations, Nixon, Kennedy, LBJ.
Well, I had tried
sympathy, but no action, huh?
Yeah, I had tried from the time I was a girl, a little 16-year-old, to into my 20s, making out visovs. And a visov is an invitation that you write in English, in whatever language, whether it's Polish, Lithuanian, Latvian, whatever, and Russian. So I had to do that, first of all, have everything translated and written in the language that I talked about. You now take this and you have it notarized. So you get ribbons and seals on it. Now you take that and you send it to the city and you get the city seal on it. Then you send that to the state, in this case up in Sacramento, and you get their seal on it. Now you send the whole friggin' thing to the State Department and you get their seals on it. And these 3 sheets of paper are now this thick with ribbons and seals. And you send this whole thing to the authorities, to the family, and who takes it to the authorities in Lithuania, Siberia in this case. And they take one look at it and go, "Niet," and 6 months later it's expired and you have to start all over again.
Well, you've heard "niet" a lot in your life, huh?
I heard it a lot. And I kept doing that for 12 years. So that stick-to-itiveness, really, I learned that you just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it.
Yeah.
And finally, the craziness of calling Khrushchev did it.
Yeah.
You know, something wild did it, something
Yes.
extraordinary. So just have faith that if it's meant to be, it'll be. And just keep going after it. Don't sit back on your fanny and wait for it to happen. You've got to keep pushing it.
Absolutely right. You know, because prior, all communications were censored, right? Letters would arrive with deleted lines.
Yes. My letters would arrive with big blackout marks all the way through them. And sometimes it would just be "Dear Ruta," and down to "Goodbye, you know, see you later." It was just incredible. I didn't know when I got the letter from my cousin who was writing for my grandmother that she was dying, whether I was really reading it right. But they did say that she's thanking us for her burial clothes, which she will be using.
Life magazine followed all of this.
Yes,
didn't they?
did.
Huh?
They did.
That brought it to, pun intended, brought it to life, huh?
They
People
did.
became aware of the story.
It was quite amazing to have a reporter from Life meet me in Moscow and go with us all the way. And it was just astounding. There were certain places we could photograph, certain places we couldn't. It was amazing. But you see, God works in mysterious ways. And when I went back the second time, Jim, 6 months after the first visit, I was going on my own. No Life magazine, no mother and father. My father spoke Russian fluently, which helped. I don't. And I had to go into Moscow and, they put me, it was a layover, I had to wait for another plane to go back. They put me in a room and said, "Don't be surprised if the door comes open and we put somebody else in here at night with you." That was the Soviet system. You didn't argue. You just did whatever they tell you.
Said, "Yes, sir."
Anyway, I went back to Lithuania, and now I pick up my grandmother and I'm going to take her home. And it was just totally amazing. She had never seen an airport, never been to an airport, never done anything, never seen a plane, never mind be on one. And I asked her as we entered the plane, "Are you going to be afraid?" And she looked up to heaven and looked up and said, "The plane goes up, doesn't it?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Well, it's closer to God in heaven. What have I got to be afraid of?" Which I thought was just so smart of her.
How beautiful is that?
We get on the plane, and the stewardesses, it took me 5 days in Moscow to get through all the paperwork that had to be done. And you can imagine how difficult it was. And I mean, talk about craziness. We're staying in what is considered, at the time anyway, I mean, this is the early 60s, what was considered Moscow's finest, which was the Peking Hotel. And they've got a menu in the main dining room, which is the size of the Queen Victoria Station and ballroom. And there are maybe 3 tables that are occupied. The rest are all empty. And they bring me a menu that is like the Manhattan directory, bound in red velvet with golden print and tassels and things on it. And you open it, and I said, all right, first of all, we'll have the borscht. No, we don't have the borscht. We only have cabbage today. Okay, all right, then we'll have the cabbage. Now you go 5 more pages in. Each one they don't have, they don't have, they don't have, they don't have. They had some kind of a meatloaf and the cabbage borscht. That was it, with a menu that read like the directory. That was the communist system. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
Now we get on the plane.
How was the meatloaf?
You know, I doubt that I ate it. Let me tell you, I took her and planted her one day when I had to hit all the embassies and do everything and get paperwork done. I couldn't drag around this 90-some-year-old lady.
No.
So I parked her one time at the hotel when I was just going to be gone a while. I said, don't move, don't open the door, don't do anything. That was fine. So I parked her at the embassy, at the American embassy, which is the first place that she ever had Campbell's mushroom soup. And she thought she had died and gone to heaven. That's how good she thought Campbell's mushroom soup was. Well, of course, she was toothless, and naturally it was good. She could melt her crackers in it. And
the mushrooms are soft.
Oh,
yeah.
And the mushrooms are soft. She could do that. But we get on the plane on the coming home trip. Thanks to British Airways. God, they were good to me. They put us up in first class. Nice. Oh, boy, if you don't think that was puff.
Oh, absolutely.
And we're going to fly to London, where we had to stop because they said break up the flight, you know, so that you can get her a little rest in London. We get on the flight. The stewardesses are running back and forth, looking gorgeous and pretty in their uniforms and bringing champagne and bringing things and what. And my grandmother grabs me by the elbow and she says, don't order anything. Don't order anything. I don't have any money. And I said, Grandma, whatever you want, you can have. It's paid for. It's all taken care of. Whatever you want. What would you like? Thinking she would say she would have a sip of wine. She said, cognac. Cognac. She said, yes, I've heard about it all my life. I've never had it. I want cognac. So they bring this lovely, delicate little pony of cognac. And I figure my grandmother's going to sip it all the way to London slowly, right? Mm-mm. She goes,
boom,
throws it down. She had at least 5 of those until we got to London.
She was having a good time.
And how she waddled off the plane, I will never, ever know. But
she was hearty stock.
Fabulous. Hearty stock.
Hearty stock for sure, huh?
And of course, the international papers, I didn't know, of course.
Yeah, the world press covered the London daily papers and more front page.
I had no idea that the world press the first time around, when I took my mom and dad, my friend and publicist at the time, who now has gone to meet our maker in the sky, said, you know, Ruta, I know you're going to the Soviet Union. Wouldn't it be a good idea if somebody knew that you were going, so that if you were detained, we'd know where to look for you, you know, that sort of thing? And so I said, sure. And so she arranged a luncheon with the head of AP Wire Services, James Bacon at the time. And he covered all the AP Wire Service stuff for Hollywood. We had lunch, and he did a story that made the front pages of every paper across this world. I never saw those, Jim, because I was on a plane going there. Mm-hmm. And I never saw any of that. But what were the Soviet authorities going to do but treat me nicely when the world was watching? Young starlet goes to Hollywood to find grandmother, blah, 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 you know. And so I really got treated like a queen at all times. And believe it or not, I still do, because a lot of the older generation who were there under communism that haven't gone still remember me, and they've passed it on to the rest. And I'm a big cheese in Lithuania. So if ever you want to go to Lithuania, let me know, darling. Let me know.
That is fantastic. What a story. I tell you, And the next time I order mushroom soup at the diner, it's going to taste very different.
Yes, it
I
is,
will
darling. Yes,
remember
it
this
is.
story from Ruta Lee.
Well, the Lithuanians export mushrooms. We grow the most beautiful mushrooms in Lithuania. And
So,
Lithuanians learn at a very early age which ones to dispose of because they're poisonous and which ones to keep for the
yes,
soup or the whatever they want to make out of it.
absolutely.
But I am so happy that we have a wonderful. They dry them and put them on wreaths like holly wreaths
Yeah.
and out of mushrooms.
You, of course, right after all of the fantastic presentations and honoring and everything that's happened to you with the presidents, got that Hollywood star. Congratulations.
Oh yes, yes. That
Here
is so
you are
fabulous.
soaking it up, living it up. I am
I
here.
love it. I love it. And this is a
Your
funny
grandmother
story
kissed the
too.
ground, and you're
Yes,
on the ground with a star.
up on the star
See?
with exactly. And the amazing thing about that is, Jim, I worked when I was a kid and going to Hollywood High
Yeah.
at Grauman's Chinese. I got the ultimate usherette job, if you remember what an usherette even is. But I stood at the top of the aisle with my little Chinese uniform and my pants and the flashlight, and I showed patrons to seats wherever they wanted to sit with a flashlight. And then I'd come up and stand at the top of the aisle and watch the queens of the cinema, Betty Grable and June Haver and Mitzi Gaynor, all of whom became my very good friends in life. I would stand and watch them and pray, say, oh, dear Lord, let me do that. Please let me do that someday. Please let me do that someday. Well, I got promoted to Candy Girl. Now, math was never my long suit, Jim. I am lousy in math to this day. But I could deal with everything because it was 10 cents, 15 cents, 25 cents, 50 cents for the big bucket of popcorn. I could deal with that. And then when nobody was buying anything, I could still step out and watch the movies at the top of the aisle. Then, as luck would have it, I got promoted to the box office because the box office girl got sick.
Mm.
And I said to the manager, oh, I can't do that. That's math. And tickets are like $1.98 or $2.35 or whatever they were at the time. I can't do it. So no. It's easy. You just punch in $1.98 2 times, and then you punch in $5 and change, and it'll give you the right change. Well, we were some $40 short that night. And I guess the machine was very generous. And I got fired.
Mm.
And I went to the manager in tears and I said, you're firing me. And I didn't take the money. I'm just stupid in math. And I told you not to do that. And I got fired from the box office. I got fired from Grauman's Chinese. Fade out, fade in. This many years later, I get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And where is it? In front of the frigging box office. Isn't
that's
that
telling them.
serendipity? Is that guardian angels working for me?
It's
Isn't
kind
that
of like
wonderful?
that, what they would always say, be nice to your boss and everybody you work with,
Right.
because you never know when you're going to meet them again.
And Mitzi Gaynor was there for me, and June Haver was there for me.
How
Oh, isn't
wonderful.
that just incredible? Phyllis Diller was there for me.
Phyllis Diller.
It was just incredible, and right in front of the box office. So that's
so
not bad.
And then in
And
2019, you returned to Lithuania as principal speaker for the Women's Day convention. Tell us about
yes,
that.
yes, that was very, very exciting to walk in and sit in front of a crowd of, I don't know, 3,000, 4,000, not just ladies, a few gentlemen too, and talk about my roots and talk about Hollywood and what they wanted to see. And I always open it up. I say, okay, I've talked enough about me. I'll let you talk about me now. Come on, let's have some questions. And they were very shy about asking anything or making a statement. So I went down into the audience and walked among them, with a handheld mic. And things sort of livened up, and all of a sudden they got very chatty and very interested. It was a marvelous experience. And the President Nauseda, Gitanas Nauseda, has invited me to come to the Lithuanian Folk Festival, where they have young people from folk dance groups from all over the world that come to Lithuania. And so I've asked Anne, and I'm hoping that she will heal by then and be able to go, meaning Anne, my darling Anne Gillian. And hopefully she'll be able to go.
How beautiful is that, huh?
I look forward to it. I look forward to it.
Are there other parts of the world that you haven't been to? Oh, we have somebody there visiting you on the right. Is that the cat?
Do you see the cat?
No, not yet. Just yeah.
That's one of my beauties.
Mm.
There, I have two beautiful cats, two darling dogs, and a cockatoo. And the golden crescent cockatoo does only laughter. I think I told you, laughter and barking.
I tell you.
But anyway, where was I? I was going to tell you something wonderful, or you asked me something.
What we were talking about, I was just about to ask you, you mentioned the trip to Lithuania and wanting to go back with Angelian. Are there other parts of the world you have not visited yet that you would love to visit, Ruta?
Yes, absolutely. On my bucket list, without a doubt, is Africa. Oh. And I've got to do it quick before I get a hell of a lot older, because I want to be able to climb up on the jitneys or the trucks or whatever that they take you around. Now, mind you, I want to do a very elegant safari. I don't want a tent where the tiger is going to come in and have lunch out of me. I want something really fancy.
Yeah.
And I want to see
high tone, like you said earlier.
High tone, yes.
High tone. I like that phrase.
I want to see the animals, and I love animals. I think my husband used to say, you really should have been a zookeeper, because I love animals so much. Yeah. And I only have two fears in life. I mean, two real fears. One is snakes.
Oh,
and the other is dentists. And I'm not sure in which order. But even the dentists have gotten better now.
Hopefully they're not one and the same. When the bill comes.
I do really want to spend some time in Africa. I think that would be great. I've been to Japan, and I've been to I have no desire to go to the Mideast, other than the romantic stories that came out of the Mideast, I think, are beautiful.
Have you been to Switzerland and Ireland?
Yes, I have. Yeah. And I'd like to spend more time in Switzerland.
Yeah.
What I'd like to do also is spend more time in Lithuania, and to go to Latvia and Estonia, and maybe see more of Poland. Because when I'm in Lithuania, I'm so taken up with interviews and visits and all of that stuff that I don't get to kind of do my own thing,
Right.
But I would like that very, very much.
You are such a gem of a person to come on the show, but also, as I've mentioned in the introduction during the obituary, which actually was a loving introduction coming from the heart. And as you can tell, none of this is scripted. I love conversations and back and forth. That's the way we do the show. And I love that style. Nothing, we have a thing we follow, but it's the warmth of the conversation and the interaction between the two of us. When you look at your body of work and what you've contributed in the field of entertainment and so much more, which continues today in such a phenomenal way. What are everything you've been in is extraordinary. I mean, I love that Twilight Zone. Look at those eyes. I mean, those are melt me now eyes.
Oh, bless you for saying that. Well,
phenomenal. So expressive with your eyes.
I love everything that I've ever done. And when I'm asked what's your favorite, it's whatever I'm doing now that is my favorite.
I love that.
There is nothing like the stage, because it's a living, breathing, laughing, sighing, crying animal that is an audience that works with you. You know, it can either work with you or against you, or you with it. But I love the stage for that reason. But when it comes to television, I have to tell you, I was terribly, terribly proud of the fact that I was able to handle a 2.5 hour live talk show for a couple of
Yes.
years with Regis Philbin.
He was a
I
friend
was
of
his
mine, and I
co-host.
miss him. Uh,
Lord, I really thought that was great. And I had some wild experiences on that because, you know, there's an 8-second delay and we were a call-in show. That was wonderful. I adored working with Charles Lawton. Oh, and that's a story for another day that I will tell
yes,
you about
we'll have you back. Yeah.
how I got to do that movie, you know.
Uh,
And working with Frank Sinatra was, of course, the most fun I think I've ever had in my life. That was one big laugh after another, you know. So that was fun. Gosh, and you mentioned one that I dearly loved and I was so proud of, that oh dear, my brain has just gone to lunch because my phones are ringing.
yeah.
The show that I did with Patrick O'Neill.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
Well,
yeah, you just talked about it. Oh,
here we have Seven Brides for Seven
not
Brothers.
the
We've
movie, the
got
television
Andy
show.
Griffith,
Well, again, I'll call you later. Like
The Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone.
Yes.
I love that
Oh,
because the guys in the catwalks, you know, that do the
yes.
lighting and move things around and whatnot,
Yes.
are the old guys, the old hands. They've been at it since the beginning of time, you know, and they really know their stuff, and they
They
lean
know their
over and they
stuff.
listen and they watch,
Yeah.
or they do whatever.
Was Rod
After one of
Serling on
the
set when you were
Yeah,
there?
sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes he was. I used to join Rod Serling in New York whenever he was there, and we'd go out for dinner, and I adored him, but
Yeah.
I did not adore his cigarette smoking. He didn't. The butt
No.
of one that's about to go
No.
out lit another
It's
one,
like
you
a
know.
nervous habit.
Oh,
Yeah.
it made me crazy. But
Yeah.
I adored him.
But he was amazing.
Oh,
And
I could have had a romance with him, except I couldn't take the cigarette smoke.
the
Let me tell
cigarettes.
you,
He was really a genius ahead of his
he
time.
was.
We
But back to my old guys up in the
yeah, and
bridge,
the
walking
catwalks.
around
Yeah.
the catwalks. After one of the scenes I did there was applause that came down, which happens every once in a while on a show, and you're very thrilled when the guys give a damn. And I looked up and they said, "Hey, Ruta, we really love you." And I said, "Gee, that's really great," expecting they were going to say I was very good. And they said, "Yeah, you remind us of our favorite." And I said, "Who's that?" And they said, "Carol Lombard." So I was very flattered, needless to say.
I was going to say, huh? And before we go, because I know you have the phones ringing and so much happening, Alex Trebek, High Rollers. I mean, for the game show fans out there, huh? We just lost Bob Barker recently, and of course, just before that was Alex Trebek.
Look,
oh, look at this. Let's go big screen on.
that's my sweetheart. He did the foreword to my book, Consider Your Ass Kissed. And he did the most, and it was done just a few days before he died. So I'm, needless to say, beholden to Alex, not just for the beautiful intro that he gave to my book, but for the many, many years of very close friendship. And both his wives, first and second, remain my very, very best friends.
What a beautiful statement and a beautiful tribute, my friend. And of course, the book, which is available, and people, it's a phenomenal read, and so many people love it. Just quick before we scoot out, how'd you come up with the title?
Well, it's an expression that I've used to thank the people that in all the years of fundraising that I've done, whether it was $5 or 50 or 500 or 5,000, or if you turned on the television set because I was there, or you came to a movie to see me, or you came to see me live in the theater, What can I say but consider your ass kissed? And ABC's red carpet guru, the wonderful George Pinocchio, who is like one of my kids, said,
Yeah.
Ruta, if you ever get that book written, that should be the title. Consider your ass kissed. So I mean it from the bottom of my heart to all of you who will consider getting my book, please. And above all, you, dear Jim, handsome Jim, consider your ass kissed.
I got it. It is. Right back at you.
Thank you, darling.
Did you get a little tingle?
I surely did. You know my number. You call me whenever you're here.
it.
I'll call you when I'm in that end of the world.
Yes, come east, please.
I will. I can't wait to get to see the theater and to see you above all.
I appreciate that. RutaLee.com is the website as well to check out all the phenomenal things. And there's much more in terms of video and photos, filmography, biography, and current projects, and so much more. We are blessed and honored to be chatting with the Hollywood legend, the extraordinary, beautiful inside and out, dedicated, passionate, affable, tenacious, and lover of life. How's that? No, that's not an obituary.
That's great.
Because I didn't say she loved life. She's still a lover of life.
That part you should deliver as I go into the crypt. I love you and I thank you so much, darling.
You are fantastic. I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I absolutely have with you, Ruta.
You bet.
We'll see you again soon, and in safe travels. Enjoy Mexico.
Thank you. Hasta la vista, baby.
Take care. Cheers. Ruta Lee on the Jim Masters Show. Extraordinary, isn't she? And wow, so much fun. She's always a hoot when she comes on the show. You know why? Because she is the real deal. I just love these stories, and these stories, you know, we can go on and on and on for hours, but she's very busy. She's got a lot going on. She's preparing to go to Mexico. So we didn't want to take too much of her time, and we appreciate the time she spent with us here. This is her return visit here on the Jim Masters Show Live, entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity talk show series. And each time it's just such an honor to have her here. We always have so many laughs. And these conversations, specifically this one, talking about her family, talking about the honors from some of the highest levels of Lithuanian government, has been extraordinary. And of course, I know a lot of you love to hear the stories about the filmography, the films, the movies, the stage, all the television shows, the game show appearances, everything that she's done. But more than all of that, she is a very gracious, elegant person. She truly is Hollywood royalty, not only beloved here in America, but in Canada and around the world, because of course she has the Canadian connection, and she is a celebrated talent, a celebrated artist, and a beautiful human being, and always a pleasure to have here on the Jim Masters Show Live. You know, we talk about conversations that sort of go deep. We talk about levity. We talk about a lot of things, you know, that we have in our lives going on. And boy, has she been involved in so many extraordinary things. And now you got a chance to hear a little bit about her story when she was a child, and her grandmother, her mother, her father, some of the struggles that they had overseas, and what she did to try to get them out and to get them away from communism and get them to America. And it worked. And boy, she called Khrushchev on the phone, couple of glasses of wine, calls up Khrushchev, and she makes magic. Maybe we should have her run for office, right? Some things will get done. She's a go-getter. She, again, the Thalians too, support them. She's involved with them, which we talked about last time as well. And she's just so gracious. She is truly Hollywood royalty, and has been and continues to be. Wasn't it funny? Some of the exchanges that we had, the interaction that we had as well. She's so responsive. I love her rebuttals. My ass has been kissed, and as has hers, and all of yours has been, from lovely Ruta Lee. Huh? Not many people can say that. We really appreciate her time, her talent, her wisdom. Congratulations to Ruta for all the extraordinary things that have been coming her way. And now she gets to go and she gets to enjoy hopefully some downtime in Mexico. Knowing her, she'll still be busy. She'll still be doing things, but you heard the phone ringing off the hook and a lot of things she has going on. I could talk about her forever. She really is a real pleasure. One of our faves that stops by the Jim Masters Show live series, and we are honored by it and we appreciate it. And so glad. Didn't you love the story about getting the star in front of Grauman's Chinese Theater, the place where she had been fired? What goes around comes around sometimes. There she is as well. And of course, some other wonderful photos that we were sprinkling in during the course of our conversation. Glamorous, elegant, funny, real, authentic. And she is our Ruta Lee. And we're so blessed. There she is. We showed this earlier. If you missed any of this episode, you can see it in its entirety right here on the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. There she is again with her grandmother and her mother. 3 beautiful women, tenacious women. Here's 3 more beautiful women together as well. You recognize who's there? Of course, on the left is Ruta Lee. In the center is the incomparable Carol Channing. And on the right, Debbie Reynolds. Hello, Dolly. Absolutely. Thanks for all the great comments, everybody, all the interaction. We know you two are a big fan of Ruta Lee and you appreciate her. And whether it's through television with Andy Griffith and Twilight Zone and High Rollers with Alex Trebek or anything else, all the other incredible things she's done on television, the movies, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, Funny Face, Witness for the Prosecution, and on and on and on. Thank you very much for being a part of this episode here on the Jim Masters Show live series, where we're always bringing back the lost art of conversation in style with our famous light, love, levity, or as we call it, lovity. And Ruta loves the lovity. We were chatting about it before we went, on air. We usually have a nice conversation for a few minutes before we start the show to make sure the video and the audio are in sync. Everybody can hear everybody and everything works out smoothly as much as possible for all of you to provide you with all this content. And if you enjoyed yourself, let us know. We would love it if you interact with us. You can do that by subscribing to our YouTube channel, where we house now well over 1,004 episodes and counting. That's in 3.5 years' time and counting. Give this episode a thumbs up on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. You can share this on your social media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And don't forget to leave a comment. Drop a comment, underneath all the episodes. We're very interactive here at JMS. And we encourage you to leave a comment, say hello, let us know what you enjoyed. Maybe drop a line and let us know which is your favorite of the wonderful things that Ruta Lee has presented in the world of entertainment. Maybe a stage performance that you saw, or perhaps one of the television series or movies that she was in. Let us know. We would love to hear from you. So leave a comment in the comments section on our YouTube channel. That would be spectacular. Once again, we thank very much. And it was such a great honor to have Ruta Lee here. And what we did, we scrambled a little bit to create this special time to spend the time with Ruta, for Ruta. And she joined us just on the cusp of her travels, once again, to her beautiful home in Mexico. So we appreciate that, and it worked out beautifully. So if you enjoyed the episode, certainly let us know. You can also find me in all the social media. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, which is now X, and of course, Facebook at Jim Masters TV. And of course, our YouTube channel is Jim Masters TV. And once again, thanks everybody for all the love, the support, the tweets, the comments, the private messages. We've got thousands of messages a week from our viewers all around the world. Thousands of messages a week. Some people are praising what we're doing with the show. Some people have been with us since day one, 1,000+ episodes ago. Some are still joining us for the first time, which is wonderful. If you joined us for the first time today, this is your first experience with the Jim Masters Show live series, welcome. We hope you'll stop by and come see us again. And if you're one of our faithful lovities that watches all the time, we thank and value you too. Spread the word. Don't keep it a secret. Let everybody know about the Jim Masters Show live series, because it really does take a village as we continue to grow what we're doing here, which is quite unique and quite special with the interactivity, the levity, the incredible guests that come in from all different backgrounds, and so much more. I encourage you to also binge watch some of our past episodes. Some of your favorites, special guests, celebrity friends, and more have stopped by, sometimes more than once, because they love what happens here, the vibe and being welcomed. They love the obituaries. They love being here with us, and we love having them here, and we love having all of you here as well. So I can't say thank you enough to our extraordinary guests that join us, and to all the behind scenes folks that help to sometimes solidify that, working with me to make that happen, and you for watching and supporting and celebrating. Really, really cool. And of course, there's the heart icon on all the episodes, the little heart icon on the YouTube channel. Click that, and that helps support us. And when you subscribe to the YouTube channel, don't forget to click the notification bell icon, because when you do that, you know what happens? You'll get a notification from us about all the episodes of the Gym Masters Show Life series. So that way there, you will never miss any of our shows. You'll always be here, and you will never miss a thing. First time watching, we welcome you to the show. If you like what you're watching, come see us again. And we thank you so very much. And of course, if you enjoyed this episode, once again, give it a like, subscribe, comment, and all the rest. We thank Ruta Lee, and we thank all of you. Be well. Come see us again. So many more great guests are coming up for you right here on the Gym Master Show Live. We love you all. Thanks for stopping by the show right now and today. And we'll see you here on the next one. Take care. We love you. Cheers.